oil filter housing gasket and the expansion tank before it explodes in my face. Right YouTube, hope you're staying safe. I'm actually working on the beamer for a change. Shock horror. It's actually pretty sweltering today, so I'm glad I'm in a garage, to be honest, even though it's pretty hot in here. We're going to be doing the oil filter housing gasket. Makes sense too, seeing as there's loads of stuff out the way already. Makes it a bit easier. So I just got to move the power steering reservoir out the way, remove the alternator, remove a pipe and some bolts, get the housing off, because loads like the belts are already off and fans out the way. Makes it a bit easier. So I've just replaced the coolant temperature sensor before I forget about it. It's 22mm spanner for that. Okay, so I've just taken the alternator out. I've got a really crap episode about doing that where the camera turned off or something like that. But anyway, so you take the pulley out, tensioner, which is about here. That's the top bolt for the alternator. And you've got one a bit lower down. If you take the first one out, you can sort of see it pivot or swivel on this bottom one, so you can see that one. Mine were both 16mm. And then I've got a tiny 13mm nut and washer, which are at the back of the alternator, which is this power cable here. And then you just got the, let me grab my light, the air duct, which is there. Just got to pop that off. Quite easy to take off. I've undone the power steering pump reservoir. There's two 13mm bolts, one there, so I can shift that out the way. I should better attack the oil filter housing now. There's me full of confidence. So I've just undone the banjo bolt. I'll have to replace those two washers before it goes back on. Just stuffed a bit of paper towel in there to stop anything going in to the Vanos unit. So I've just got to get these 6 bolts off the housing now. So I think we got, where are we? So we've got one there, I think one in there, one there, one there, one there, and one around there. Seeing as I'm a bit forgetful and I've got these wonderful artistic skills, I thought I'd combine them and make myself an idiot's guide to put in those 6 bolts back in the oil filter housing. I know it's pretty impressive, isn't it? So you can see there, all different sizes. 2 bottom ones look the same, 2 middle probably look the same, but the top ones are different. See, one's really long, one's short. So yeah, look at that. Feel free to copy that. Just arrived in the post. Only about 20 quid. LEDs. Can't remember how many there are. That's fucking awesome. Wish I'd got one of these earlier. Like bloody daylight in here. Nice. Just done a nice temporary cable tie fix. But no, I'll probably fit it to the ceiling at some point. So here's the housing off. Just going to give that a bit of a clean up before I put the new gasket in. I'll put the gasket to the housing, then fit it back onto this. So there's the housing assembly off. The original seal that was on there wasn't too bad. I had it done when I bought the car, probably about 4 years ago. Well, for the sake of an hour or two and a few quid for the gasket, you might as well do it while it's so easy. try and clean this up a bit. I've cleaned up the side on the engine. Just get some of these gacky bits off. There's the new sealing. I've cleaned it up as much as I can. The edge of the housing. Just oiled the seal up before I put it on. Today I think I'm going to do the expansion tank. Maybe some vacuum lines. See how much I can be bothered to do. Before I forget, I'm not sure whether I included this in some of the parts I used, but yeah, I've got a box of vacuum lines. So I'm going to try and replace any ones that I can. So I think it's going to be a bit impossible to do like, these are the tools you need sort of thing. So maybe if I just scan over some of the stuff I've used. I mean, everyone's going to be different, depends what kind of problems they get. But I don't think you really want to be starting this unless you've got quite an array of tools. So we've got stuff like breaker bar. I think I used a blowtorch as well. And I've got like penetrant, silicone spray, Loctite, like RTV gasket, maker paste stuff. Obviously things like trolley jack and axle stands. Got a big hammer. Can't remember what I used that for, but you tend to generally need a big hammer at some point. I've got some files. I think that was when I was trying to sort out the cross threads in the control arm. Got an array of pliers and snips and needle nose pliers, I think they're called. What else we got? Various ratchets. Torque ratchet as well. I've got another one somewhere, a bigger one. Loads of different screwdrivers. Get a pry bar. Array of spanners. It's good if you've got every spanner as a ratchet spanner as well. Can't seem to do it with one hand. Make things a bit easier. Oh yeah, there's the lock-in wire as well. And then I've got a selection of every socket and a deep version, all the different attachments and adapters. Got some big extensions as well. Got all your torque bits and the female ones, E whatever they are. Huge socket for the oil filter, but you can probably just use an adjustable spanner on that. Another little file there, trim remover, some little spanners, little blade as well. I think for when that bloody water heater, the plastic pipes that decided to leave the end inside the block. I think that's what I used for that for. I think that's well, there's probably other stuff I've used. Some good lights as well, which I should have had from the start really. Makes such a world of difference. So I just remembered I haven't put the alternator back in. So I might wait until I've done the expansion tank, just because it gives me a little bit of extra room, I suppose. So I'll do the expansion tank and then I'll put the alternator back on. So I'm expecting some more liquid to come out. So I've got my tray underneath. Oh yeah, don't forget your standard issue flowery cushions as well. So I've decided to be remotely sensible and put a bag over my power steering pump, seeing as it's there. So this pipe's always a real pain in the arse to get off. This one seems to come off pretty easy. So what I end up doing, trying to give myself a bit more wiggle room, is disconnect that one from there, because that came off piece of piss. And then I kind of had one hand up here, the other one, there's a kind of like a little bit of plastic you can try and push against there. And as soon as I got a bit of daylight in there, very, very carefully got my pry bar in there, and while pulling, just very gently wiggled it and it came free. Not really an issue if you're replacing it all. It doesn't really matter if you break stuff. But I did these pipes quite recently. The three I think, these big ones. It was just the other 6 that I didn't do at the time because of obviously how much effort it is. Let's get that top one off, and then we've got to take this one off, and then I should pull up, I think, if I remember right. We'll find out. If you want to make getting your expansion tank out a bit easier, then pull this out as well. Pull that clip out, it just slides out by hand, and then disconnect the electrical connector. Should make it a bit easier now. There's a new one. Don't know, what can you say about that? I've got a new coolant level sensor. Just realised I needed to take the clip off the old one as well, along with the cap. Yeah, you would have thought it'd come with this, but there we are. So it didn't feel like this. The bottom of the expansion tank was properly fitting into the section below, because you can see you can still see these little bits around here. So I ended up taking this off. You disconnect this pipe here, and then there's a little catch somewhere which just holds it onto this rack here. You just bend it out with a screwdriver and you can slide it up out of the way. So now that I've got it off, I can see that that is correct, because there, grab a screwdriver, so in there where this clip's going to slide in, it should also slide into like a little groove on this bit. So if you hold it up at a certain, and look from a certain direction, you can see that the groove on this bottom bit is in line with the groove on the expansion tank, so the clip then should lock them both together. So there's that back in. Well, there's a new one fitted anyway. Not too bad a job. It's just, you don't really like trying to push things too hard that are made out of plastic, because we all know how strong the expansion tanks are. So hopefully it's in alright now. We'll find when we fill it up and try and bleed it. Yeah, what more can I say really? Usually I find a good idea when on the pipes that have got move it. I don't know. They've got these kind of clips. So what you should do is push them, slide them back into place before you put the pipe back on, and then as you push the pipe in, you hear it click into place. You kind of see the clip move as it goes into the slot. But yeah, that's it really. Get out and enjoy some sun, I think. So join me on the next riveting episode where you'll be glued to your seat as I reassemble everything and also show you the O2 pilot mod. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, bye.